Hello, Forecaster here again, and we are back for episode 57. And it's the same deal as last episode, and if you didn't see that, when I recorded this and the previous episode, I did so with the microphone muted. So I was talking to myself for about an hour, and so I have to record a new voiceover track in editing. So this is not me talking while I'm recording this, but afterwards. So, last episode I set up, or rather I showed off the Railcraft assembler I had made, and I realized that my current single commercial engine power system was insufficient for this, for the laser. So I started making some steel, which I finished at the end of last episode, and I'm now going to install the industrial steam engines I made after the fact. So I need some power pipes, and I've already made the wooden pipes, but I need some more cobblestone power pipes to connect up to the engines. So that's what I'm making here. And I decided to only make 8 of them to start with. And unfortunately this mariculture compressor is in the way, so I'm going to disassemble it and lose the air it contains. I'm going to put it somewhere else at some point and let it fill back up. I might also have a solution for the power problem with it, the fact that it doesn't accept power from Railcraft pipes. But I'll deal with that later. So I'm unable to. There's some sort of bug here where I'm not able to pick up items. But I'm installing these engines and I'm putting them directly on the boiler to maximize the steam transfer rate. And then I just connect them up to the existing power lines. And I'm going to take this gate here and put it on one of the engines. I'm getting the lever to keep this commercial steam engine on, just to keep power flowing while I'm working on this new setup. So I'm taking the gate and I put it on the wooden pipe, and then I will use the power requested trigger with the redstone signal on to control this engine. And since power is being requested, the engine will turn on, and if I break the pipe, since no power is being requested, the gate will turn off again, turn the engine off. But I wanted to produce power. So now we're when the engine heats up, we're going to have some extra power production, which is good. You can see what the engine is producing. It's not at max speed yet. So I'm going to need another gate for the other engine, of course. So I'll need to make some more chipsets so I can make another gate. And I'm also going to have the problem of overloading the pipes. So the cobblestone kinesis pipes can only transfer 80 RF per tick. And that happens to be exactly what a single industrial steam engine produces. So 2 engines are going to produce more energy than the pipe they're connected with can transfer. So that means that I'm going to have to upgrade the pipe. And I believe I show that a little bit later. Yeah, right there. So you can see the transfer rates of the pipes there. And I look at the quartz pipe. Which would have a much higher capacity. And I do have some quartz, but not really. I only have enough to make 8 pipes, and I would need more than that to upgrade all of the pipes, which means I will have to go to the nether at some point and get more quartz. You may also notice that I have made some facades and started covering up the pipes that were visible in the ceiling. So the water pipe is mostly covered up in the main room. I believe I'll actually look at it later. But it's looking a lot nicer. And the rock crusher is still using more power than it's receiving, which unfortunately means that it's not running at max speed, but it's just crushing stones. It doesn't really matter. And the assembly table is chugging along. The laser is green now, which is better than red. But it's still not maximum efficiency. But it's using all the power it's getting, and it's getting more than it did before, of course, which is good. And we can see that the engine is producing a lot of power. It's outputting its maximum 80 RF per tick. If I had an extra lever, I probably should have made one and turned on the other engine as well. Unfortunately, I really don't remember at all what I was saying in the original voiceover while I was recording this. It did seem that when more power when a power pipe is at its maximum capacity, the blue power line inside should turn red. And from what I saw, it didn't seem that that was happening for some reason, and I'm not entirely sure why. Um, but when both engines are running, um, it should have turned red. Um, but for some reason it didn't. And I believe that may be a bug. Now the engine is running red. So the engines in Buildcraft, for one thing, they don't explode. People ask that sometimes when they're new to this. Ask if they're going to explode. But they don't. When they actually overheat, they just I have no idea why I broke that. They just shut down, and you have to hit them with a crowbar to get them going again, or break them and replace them. I suppose would also do it. But the engines will only overheat when they don't have anywhere, when they're turned on but don't have anywhere to send the energy they're producing. So essentially, you saw the buffer bar inside the engines. If that fills up, um, the engine will shut down and overheat. But that will only happen if it can't actually output energy, or if it can, but there's nothing that accepts it. So now we have both engines going, and for some reason the line isn't being rendered at first from the second engine. You saw it a little bit, and then it kind of goes away. I'm not sure what that is about either. It seems the pipes are a little buggy at the moment. But yeah. So these engines are now using more steam than the boiler is producing. So I'm going to need to upgrade it. And the easiest way to do that is to extend it upwards. So the current size, I'm going to look at the tanks in a little bit. And you can see that the 2x2 size I have going allows a max height of 3. So we can add another 4 tanks on top to make it slightly bigger, and that will increase the steam production a little bit. And that will cost me some iron plates. I could also, if I wanted to, make it a high pressure boiler, but I really don't need to do that, and making the steel would take a while. So I have some iron plates stored, but I'm going to need to make more anyway, so I might as well make and I have to turn them all into plates anyway, so I might as well make them all. Right away. Save the ones I have in the work table. So tank costs 2 plates, which is pretty cheap. So to make 4 tanks, I just need 8 plates. There we are. And I can easily make the tanks in my inventory. And then I just place them top of the boiler. Unfortunately, this resets the temperature, but fortunately it keeps the fuel. And of course, since the temperature is reset, the the boiler isn't going to produce any steam for a while it heats back up to 100 degrees, and then it's going to start producing very little steam until it reaches max heat again. But there's enough power built up in the engines to run the stuff for that time. So it's fine. And the reason I threw that piece of stone out was so it would go into the builder's backpack. And I also have enough electrical power stored to last until the boiler gets going again. And even if I didn't, I have my backup generators that would kick in if needed. Sometime when I move the power plant downstairs, I want to build a proper nuclear reactor and expand it, because as I believe I've said before, the current one is not stable and it will explode if left running for too long, which is why it's the second backup and not the first backup. The first backup being the gasoline generator. And I have no idea what I was saying. Well, I was flailing at the assembly table there. Probably something about gates. So now with the capacity to make gates, I can now also make autarkic gates using pulsating chipsets, which are made with a piece of redstone and an ender pearl. But to really do that, I need an integration table as well. And that is another piece of expensive equipment. I believe it costs, we're going to see it later, costs another diamond gear, which is another 4 diamonds. So I might have to use my last 4 diamonds on that. But it would mean I could replace the electrical engine downstairs. That is the one for the smelting setup, and replace it with an autarkic gate instead, which it's not expensive to run, but the engine, that is, but it's kind of clunky because I have to activate it, turn it on and off manually. Well, I guess I could just use a regular gate to control the engine, I suppose. That would also work. Yeah, we now have a yellow laser. I think it's red, yellow, green, blue. Or is it green and then yellow? Don't actually remember which order the colors come in. I would guess it's red, green, and yellow, since the engines should be producing more power now than they did when it was green. But I'm not sure. It feels like the color scale would be the wrong order if it was that way. So here I'm discussing the auto crafting stuff I would like to do. I was thinking of using logistics frames to move items around. The problem with that is that if I have a component that can go multiple directions, I have no real way of controlling where it goes. But then I realized I might be able to use the frames to send things to things like the pressure chamber, and then have an output chest that provides items to the logistics system, and just keep the other things in a closed system. The auto workbench, I've disabled the recipe for that because it's unpowered, and I don't like free auto crafting at all. But I'm going to have to plan the auto crafting system out in the future. Not entirely sure how to get that. You can also use drones to autocraft. There is a crafting puzzle piece, but the drones are pretty expensive, so I don't really want to do that. I only have the one drone at the moment, and if I make another one, I want to use that to like for collecting items and things, and not dedicate one to crafting. I feel that would be kind of a waste. But I'll probably find a good solution. I hope, at least. And there are probably a bunch of possibilities. Now I'm pretty sure I explained why I want the auto crafting stuff in the last episode, to make computer components, and it would also help making making plastics or making PCBs a little easier, hopefully, because I can have the auto crafting set up, measure up the correct amount of items that to send to crafting, and not have to do it myself each time. Hopefully I can figure out a way to I would like to have an automatic way to measure up the correct amount of molten metal to make iron ingots, because I haven't found a way to really do that yet. Industrial Craft 2 has a fluid distributor, regulator I think it might be called. However, that doesn't have a single trigger function. It's designed to provide or to move a specific amount of fluid either every tick or every second. Now I might be able to use the every second option, but I've yet to really figure that out yet. Now, as you can see, I've put covers or facades on the pipes. The As you can see, the bottom side looks a little off. The texture isn't quite right. On the hollow cover or facade, the regular facades look fine, of course. The side texture, as you can see on the wall there where the pipe goes in, looks fine as well. Um, but yeah, and here you can see the top texture also looks fine. So we're nearly out of time, so I'm going to end the episode here. I don't really do anything more. I just walk around and talk a bit more. So I will see you in the next episode, where hopefully I will remember to have the microphone on this time. So I will see you then.